first contender tonight is Stella Traynor, a registrar from Market Harborough. She's answering questions on the band Crowded House. Lawrence Cook is an organic chemist from Market Raisin. His specialist subject, World Super-Middleweight Boxing. Next, Kyle Hobman, a financial assistant from York on the American sitcom Parks and Recreation. And Didier Bruyere, a scientist from Bristol. His subject, Claude Monet. And welcome to Mastermind with me, John Humphrys. 4 contenders, as always, probably fairly confident about the 2 minutes of questions on their specialist subject. After all, they chose it. But maybe rather more worried about the 2.5 minutes of general knowledge, because they've no idea what to expect there. So let's put them to the test and have our first contender, please. And your name is?
Stella Traynor.
Your occupation?
Registrar.
And your chosen subject?
Crowded House.
Crowded House in 2 minutes, starting now. The band called themselves Crowded House after the cramped conditions of the property they shared while they were recording their first album. In which city was that property?
Los Angeles.
Yep. Which song from the band's debut album became their first UK hit single in 1987? Paul Young reached the UK top 20 with the cover version of it in 1991.
Don't Dream It's Over.
Yep. Which famous singer is mentioned in the lyrics of the Neil and Tim Finn composition She Goes On?
Engelbert Humperdinck.
Frank Sinatra. Crowded House had limited success in the UK singles charts at the peak of their fame. What was their only UK top 10 single which reached number 7 in 1992?
Distant Sun.
Weather With You. What is the name of the drummer from Sheryl Crow's band who was brought in to replace Paul Hester when he left the band at short notice in 1994 during their American tour?
Wally Ingram.
Yep. To which record label did Crowded House sign in 1985? Their self-titled first album was released in the UK, US and elsewhere on it the following year.
Capitol.
Yep. What is the title of the first track on their album Together Alone, after a place west of Auckland where the album was mainly recorded?
Kare Kare.
Yes. 2 of the co-founders of Crowded House, Neil Finn and Paul Hester, had previously been members of another Antipodean band that had enjoyed some success in the late 70s and early 80s. What was it called?
Split Ends.
Yep. Crowded House played a farewell concert on the steps of the Sydney Opera House in November 1996. They shared the proceeds with a blood bank and which local institution?
The Randwick Children's Hospital.
Yes. Who joined the band in 1990 and appeared on their Woodface album, only to leave again towards the end of the following year during the European tour to promote it?
Tim Finn.
Yes. What honour was given to both Tim and Neil Finn for their services to music in June 1993?
OBE.
Yep. Who produced the band's first 3 studio albums and also had success with other artists, including Richard Thompson, Los Lobos and Suzanne Vega?
Mitchell Froome.
Yep. Which band member has designed several Crowded House album sleeves, including the front cover painting for Recurring Dream?
Nick Seymour.
Nick Seymour is correct. Stella, you have no passes. You've scored 11 points.
Thank you.
And our next contender, please. And your name is?
Lawrence Cook.
Your occupation?
Organic chemist.
And your chosen subject?
Super-Middleweight Boxing.
In 2 minutes, here we go. In December 1987, which organisation became the second to sanction a super-middleweight division?
WBO.
WBA, who unified 3 of the 4 major belts when he beat Mikkel Kessler in front of his home crowd at Cardiff's Millennium Stadium in November 2007.
Joe Calzaghe.
Yes. What is the nationality of Badou Jack, who held the WBC title from 2015 to 17 when he left it to move up to light heavyweight?
Canadian.
Swedish. At which football stadium did George Groves beat the Russian Fedor Chudinov to claim the vacant WBA super middleweight title when the referee stopped the fight in the 6th round?
Bramall Lane, Sheffield
Yes. Nigel Benn's last 2 fights were against Steve Collins for his WBO belt. The referee stopped the first fight in the 4th round. In what round did Ben retire in the 2nd?
6th.
Yes. Who became the first British boxer to win an Olympic gold medal and world professional title when he won the vacant IBF title in May 2015?
James DeGale.
Correct. Steve Collins took Chris Eubank's WBO title from him in the Irish town of Mill Street. In which city did he make his first successful defence of his title against Eubank?
Cork.
Yep. Carl Froch was beaten twice in his 35-fight career. The first loss was to Mikhail Kessler in 2010. Who beat him in 2011?
Andre Ward.
Andre Ward. What is Richie Woodall's hometown where he won the WBC title in March 1998?
Telford.
Yes, in March 1984, which Scottish-born boxer became the first world super-middleweight champion when he beat the American Ernie Singletary for the inaugural IBF title? He lost his first defence of his crown to the Korean Chongpal Park.
Murray Sutherland.
Yes, it was. Who beat James Toney on points to claim the IBF title in 1994 and went on to win all 5 defences of his title inside the distance?
Roy Jones.
Yep. By what unusual verdict did Andre Ward beat Mikhail Kessler for the WBA's Super Championship during the 11th round of their fight in November 2009?
Technical decision.
Yes. Which English boxer held the WBC title for just under 4 months in 2000? Take a guess. No.
Robin Reid.
No, Glenn Catley.
Yeah.
No passes. Lawrence, you have scored 10 points.
Thank you.
And our next contender, please. And your name is?
Kyle Hobman.
Your occupation?
Financial assistant.
And your chosen subject?
Parks and Recreation.
Parks and Recreation in 2 minutes. Here we go. The series is set in the Parks Department of a fictional American town called Pawnee. In what state is Pawnee?
Indiana.
Yep. Which former presidential candidate does Leslie encounter in the cloakroom of the Hay Adams Hotel in the episode Ms. Nope Goes to Washington?
John McCain.
Yes. What is the name of Annabelle Porter's internet lifestyle magazine that promotes Ron Swanson's handmade chairs as a trend in the episode Recall Vote?
Bluche.
Yep. Who plays the dim-witted would-be rock star Andy Dwyer, who starts out as Ann Perkins' boyfriend and ends up married to April Ludgate?
Chris Pratt.
Yep. In the episode Canvassing, Leslie Knope filibusters the meeting called to vote on the proposed new park by reading from what children's fantasy adventure novel?
The Phantom Tollbooth.
Yep. For what charity does Ben Wyatt start work in the episode Correspondence Lunch in Series 5? On his first day, he has to select a cause for the charity to support from many thousands of applications.
The Sweetums Foundation.
Yep. Who jointly created and acted as executive producer of the series with Michael Schur, with whom he had previously worked on the American version of The Office?
Greg Daniels.
Yes. In Series 3, the Parks Department is threatened with closure because of budget cuts. What traditional event does Leslie revive to prove the worth of the department?
The Harvest Festival.
Yes. What board game does Ben insist on playing as part of his stag night before Chris suggests that each of the attendees name and act out their own fantasy stag night activity?
Settlers of Catan.
Yes, in the episode London, Andy Dwyer mistakes Buckingham Palace for which fictional building?
Hogwarts.
Yes. Leslie Knope and her former close friend Lindsay Carlisle Shea find themselves at odds over a fence built in which park on the border of Pawnee and Eagleton?
Ramsett Park.
Lafayette Park. What first name is shared by Ron Swanson's 2 ex-wives and his mother?
Tammy.
Yep. In the episode Christmas Scandal, Leslie finds herself in the headlines of a tabloid newspaper over her supposed affair with Councilman Dexhart. Which paper?
The Pawnee Sun.
Yep. In the final episode, One Last Ride, each of the characters is shown in the future. What is the title of the self-made film about his failures that Tom Haverford watches over and over again?
Failure.
Swaggerless.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, swaggerless. So you got 2 wrong, but you have 12 points.
Thank you.
And our final contender, please. And your name is?
Didier Bruyère,
Your occupation?
scientist,
And your chosen subject?
Claude Monet.
Claude Monet in 2 minutes. The term Impressionism is derived from the title of Monet's painting Impression Sunrise that depicts a scene at which French port?
Le Havre.
Yes, Monet began studying at the studio of which artist in 1862? While he was there, he met Renoir and Sisley.
Claire.
Yes. What was the name of Monet's aunt who encouraged his artistic aspirations even though her half-brother, Monet's father, opposed them?
Marie-Jeanne Le Cadre.
Yes. What is the title of the snowscape featuring a bird perched on a gate that Monet is believed to have painted in the countryside near Etretat and to have submitted unsuccessfully for the 1869 Salon?
The Magpie.
Yes. In 1895, Monet made a series of paintings of a Norwegian mountain that reminded him of Mount Fuji. Which mountain?
Mont Colsas.
Yes, in June 1889, more than 100 Monet's paintings were displayed alongside works by a sculptor at a joint exhibition in Paris. Which sculptor?
Rodin.
Yes, Monet stayed at which hotel during his 3 trips to London between 1899 and 1901? He painted many pictures of Charing Cross and Waterloo bridges from his room.
Savoy Hotel.
Yes, what was the name of the friend Monet wrote to on the 12th of November 1918, offering 2 decorative panels to the French state? Eventually, 8 of his vast paintings of water lilies were installed at the Orangerie Museum as a monument to peace.
Clemenceau.
Yes, in late 1883, when Monet travelled to Italy with Renoir, he was particularly impressed with the beauty of a town in Liguria and returned there alone to work in January of 1884. Which town?
Bordighera.
Yes, Monet's painting of a woman in a green dress was exhibited at the 1866 Salon. What was the name of the woman who modelled for it and later became his wife?
Camille Doncieux.
Yes, which railway station did Monet paint in a series of works in 1877? It is said that he once persuaded the director of the railway company to delay a train so that the light would be better.
Saint-Lazare.
Yes, in 1923, Monet underwent a series of operations to treat a medical condition that had been diagnosed over a decade earlier. Which condition?
Cataract.
Yes, and you're out of time. You have no passes. Didier, you have scored 12 points. So that's the first round, very close round at that. Let's have a look at all the scores. In 4th place, 10 points, Lawrence Cook. 3rd place, 11 points, Stella Traynor. Joint 1st place, 12 points apiece, Carl Hobman and Didier Brière. So we move to the general knowledge round now, and if there is a tie at the end of it, then the number of passes is taken into account, and the person with the fewer passes is the winner. And if they are tied on passes as well, there has to be a tie break. So let's get on with it and ask Lawrence to join us again, please. And Lawrence, you start out with 10 points with your boxing knowledge. You have 2.5 minutes, of course, of general knowledge. Here we are. The nectarine is a smooth-skinned variety of what fruit?
Peach.
Yep. Who followed in his father's footsteps when he was elected Prime Minister of Canada in October 2015?
Trudeau.
Yes. Who wrote the novel The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, first published in 1886?
Robert Louis Stevenson.
Yes. Which town in Kent gives its name to the tunnels that carry traffic from the M25 under the River Thames?
Dartford.
Yep. What was the name of Henry VIII's older brother, whom Catherine of Aragon married in 1501, 8 years before she married Henry?
Arthur.
Yes. The 1923 novel Jigsaw was the first of over 700 romantic novels by a writer who was made a dame in 1991. Which writer?
Barbara Cartland.
Yep. In which country was the violin virtuoso Yehudi Menuhin born in April 1916?
Israel.
No, the United States. What is the name of Yogi Bear's young sidekick?
Boo Boo.
Yeah. The name of which precious stone is thought to come from the Latin for pomegranate?
Sapphire.
Garnet. On the outskirts of which city are the Sparrow Hills, once known as the Lenin Hills, that give a panoramic view of the city?
Rome.
Moscow. What name is given to the dish from Southeast Asia in which small pieces of meat are threaded onto skewers, grilled and dipped in a spicy peanut sauce?
Satay.
Yeah. A spider, a pygmy grasshopper and a pitcher plant are among the species that have been named after which television naturalist?
David Attenborough.
Yes. Which prop forward who won 114 caps between 1990 and 2004 is England's most capped rugby player in the men's game?
Leonard.
Yep. What name that comes from the Greek for salt bringer is given to elements of group 17 of the periodic table, such as fluorine, chlorine and iodine?
Halogens.
Yes. Chapter 4, verse 2 of the book of Genesis says Cain was a tiller of the ground. What does it say was the occupation of his brother Abel?
Farmer.
Shepherd, keeper of sheep. What nickname was given to the women's fashion style introduced by Christian Dior in 1947 that consisted of narrow shoulders and voluminous calf-length skirts?
Pass.
Which anti-hero created by the novelist Patricia Highsmith has been played in films by Alain Delon, Matt Damon and John Malkovich?
Valmont.
Tom Ripley. Which animal did the car designer Alec Isigonis describe as a horse designed by a committee?
Mini.
Camel. What is the title of the Jimi Hendrix Experience's first single? It reached number 6 in the UK charts early in 1967.
Hey Joe.
Hey Joe is correct. One pass. The nickname given to the Christian Dior style was the new...
New Wave.
Close. The new look. But you were nearly there.
I'd have got it wrong.
No, well, there you go. Wouldn't have got the point anyway. But you've not done badly. You're up to 22 points.
Thank you.
And now, Stella, again, please. And you start out with 11 points, Stella. 22, the score to beat as we speak. So, here we go. 2.5 minutes of general knowledge. What is the name of the BBC's charity television evening that's been hosted since 1980 by presenters including Terry Wogan?
Childline.
Children in Need. Which work by Tchaikovsky incorporates the Marseillaise and the Russian national anthem and is still sometimes performed with the sound of a cannon?
1812 Overture.
Yes. Where, according to Alexander Pope's poem An Essay on Man, does hope spring eternal?
Youth.
In the human breast. A mansion in Lyme Park in Disley on the edge of the Peak District featured in the television adaptation of Pride and Prejudice as which house?
Mansfield Park.
Pemberley. What name for a marble is thought to come from the word alabaster after the substance from which they were originally made?
Pass.
Who sculpted the large reclining figure that was a feature of the 1951 Festival of Britain?
Pass.
In which sport have Helen Glover and Heather Stanning been Olympic, European and world champions?
Rowing.
Yes. What sauce, originally from Genoa, is made by pounding basil, pine nuts, garlic and Parmesan cheese together and adding olive oil?
Pass.
Which band had a hit with the song Dedicated Follower of Fashion in March 1966?
The Kinks.
Yep. Where in the solar system, other than on Earth, are there mountain ranges called the Montes Alpes, the Montes Apenninus and the Montes Pyreneus?
The Moon.
Yeah. Which fruit grows on long, hollow stems known as canes and has well-known varieties such as Morning Admiral and Autumn Bliss?
Raspberry.
Yes. In Greek mythology, which one-eyed giants, the sons of Uranus and Gaia, are described by Hesiod as brightness, thunder and lightning?
Cyclops.
Yes. What 2016 animated comedy is set in a city of animals where a hustling koala tries to save his theatre with a musical competition?
Sing.
Yep. What formal body of advisors is referred to in the title of the cabinet post Lord President of the Council?
Pass.
Which television sitcom that followed a series called Happy Ever After was about an ordinary middle-class married couple with the surname Medford?
Terry and June.
Yes. The name of which Chinese city means northern capital?
Beijing.
Yes. The 2016 novel Conclave, about the machinations that surround the election of a new pope, is the 11th novel by a former journalist and BBC reporter. Who is he?
Dan Brown.
Robert Harris. What term for medicines in a compressed form is now used for a newspaper with pages half the size of a broadsheet?
Tablet.
Tabloid. Dale Arden is the girlfriend of a film and comic hero originally drawn by Alex Raymond. Which hero?
Flash Gordon.
Is correct. You had 3 passes. That formal body of advisor was is the Privy Council. The sauce, when you grind up basil and all the rest of it, is pesto. Yes, you knew, didn't you?
Yeah.
The reclining figure was by Henry Moore. And the name for a marble that's thought to come from the word alabaster is alley, which is what we used to call them in South Wales about 500 years ago. Still do, I think. Anyway, Stella, you have a total of 21 points. And now, Kyle again, please. And you start out with 12 points, Carl, and the score to beat is still 22. So here we go. Denver is the capital of which American state?
Colorado.
Yep. The word tinto on the label of a bottle of Spanish or Portuguese wine denotes that the wine is what colour?
Red.
Yep. Which French soldier and statesman died at his home at Colombey-les-Deux-Églises in November 1970?
De Gaulle.
Yep. Rock climbing as a sport in Britain is considered to have started on Nape's Needle on the mountain Great Gable. In which national park is it?
Peak District.
Lake District. What's the name of M's regular secretary in the James Bond novels and films?
Moneypenny.
Yes. What dance is usually performed by a line of high-kicking women in frilly skirts? One of the best known is from Offenbach's Orpheus in the Underworld.
The Can-Can.
Yes. Which artist, born in the Netherlands in 1872, invented the term neoplasticism to describe his rigid, geometrical, abstract style of painting?
Matisse.
Mongeau. The name of what type of public address system is a contraction of tantalum alloy, a material originally used in its construction?
PA system.
Tannoy. In Arthurian legend, Mark, the husband Iseult or Isolde, was the ruler of which kingdom?
Mercia.
Cornwall. What is the only common sugar to come from animals? It's also known as milk sugar.
Lactose.
Yes. What snooker feat was televised for the first time when Steve Davis achieved it at the Larder Classic in 1982?
147.
Yeah, Maximum Break. Which English singer and actress has a Sunday afternoon show on Radio 2 that celebrates the music of Broadway, Hollywood and the West End?
Elaine Page.
Yes. What is the title of the work, one of the basic texts of Marxism, which was published in 3 volumes, the first in 1867, the other 2 after Karl Marx's death?
Das Kapital.
Yes. The major works of which novelist include Lord Jim, Under Western Eyes and Nostromo?
Joseph Conrad.
Yes. What noisy black and white wading bird with a long orange bill and long pink legs is sometimes called the sea pie?
Oyster catcher.
Yes. On which island is the dormant volcano Mauna Kea and the still active Mauna Loa, which is one of the world's largest volcanoes?
Hawaii.
Yes. Who wrote in a 1957 poem, "I was much too far out all my life and not waving but drowning"?
John Betjeman.
Stevie Smith. What was the title of Little Mix's 4th #1 single, which topped the UK charts in October 2016?
Shake It Off.
Shout Out to My Ex. What family name did Louis Alexander, the first Marquess of Milford Haven, renounce at the King's request in 1917 in favour of Mountbatten?
Smith.
Could have been, but it wasn't. Battenberg. Battenberg
right,
was the
yeah.
name, yeah. There you go. However, Carl, you still have enough points to put you in the lead, which is 24.
Thank you.
And finally, Didier, again, please. And Didier, you also start out with 12 points. And now, as you have just heard, 24 is the score to beat if you are to get into the semi-finals. So let's see how you do with 2.5 minutes of general knowledge questions starting now. Which island off the toe of Italy is the largest in the Mediterranean?
Sicily.
Yes. What name is given to a hard-boiled egg enclosed in sausage meat and a coating of breadcrumbs, fried and usually eaten cold?
Scotch eggs.
Yes. In which city was Guy Fawkes born in 1570?
York.
Yep. The title character of which Puccini opera is the lover of the painter Mario Cavaradossi?
Tosca.
Yes. The ruined Beeston Castle, built in the 13th century on a high sandstone rock, is in which English county?
Cornwall.
Cheshire. Who plays the ageing rock star Billy Mack, who has a Christmas hit with a version of the Trog song Love Is All Around in Richard Curtis's film Love Actually?
Tom Jones.
Bill Nighy. Which playwright created the football-mad Liverpool schoolboy Scully when he was a teacher to get his pupils to read?
Hughes.
Bleasdale. Which country's 2020 Cricket League has franchises named the Heat, Scorchers, Strikers and Thunder?
Australia.
Yeah. The characters in which animated cartoon series include Olive Oil and Baby Sweepy?
Popeye.
Yes. Who served almost continuously as a Member of Parliament from October 1900 to September 1964, with only short breaks in 1908 and from 1922 to 24?
Churchill.
Yep. Which character from Greek mythology is bound in the title of a play by Aeschylus and unbound in a verse drama by Shelley?
Prometheus.
Yes, Prometheus. Which of the arts did George Bernard Shaw say is the brandy of the damned in his play Man and Superman?
Pass.
What colour do objects appear to be in the condition known as xanthopsia? Jaundice can cause this effect.
Yellow.
Yes. Which members of the cat family are unique in that they live in family groups which are dominated by a powerful male?
Lion.
Yes, the rocky headland Cape Agulhas, whose name means needles in Portuguese, is the southernmost point of which continent?
Africa.
Yes. In which work of 1762 did the philosopher Jean-Jacques Rousseau write that man was born free and everywhere he is in chains?
Commentary.
The Social Contract. What is the name of the pub immortalised by Florrie Ford in a music hall song that still stands near Hampstead Heath in London?
Pass.
Summoned by Bells, first published in 1960, is a blank verse autobiography of a future poet laureate covering the writer's early days until he left Oxford. Who wrote it?
Mastermind.
Yes. What is the name of the Manchester band that reached #2 in the UK singles charts in December 1994 with Love Spreads from their long-awaited second album?
De Laz.
No, The Stone Roses. You have 2 passes, Didier. One of them, the name of that pub immortalised by Florrie Ford, the old Bull and Bush. And Bernard Shaw said the brandy of the damned is music. You have 24 points. Well, doesn't get closer than that. Let's have a look at all the scores. In 4th place, with 21 points, is Stella Traynor. 3rd place, 22 points, Lawrence Cook. 2nd place, 24 points and 2 passes, Didier Bruyère. 1st place with 24 points and no passes, Carl Hobman. Which means, of course, that Kyle is tonight's winner and he goes through to the semi-finals. Congratulations to him. And if you would like to be a contender in the next series, do go to our website, bbc.co.uk/mastermind, and you can follow us on Twitter @MastermindQuiz. Do join us again next time for more Masterminds. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.